It was actually way cooler than I expected it to be.
Wow, this is very intuitive.
That was cool. Oh, I did it!
Unbelievable.
That was really fun, and that was a lot easier than I thought it would be.
Welcome to Upward with Transfr, where we tackle our evolving workforce and how educators, governments, and industries are changing to keep up. We're dedicated to building effective pathways for workers and job seekers to get the skills they need to get into well-paying careers in high-growth industries. Our part in that is designing and distributing hands-on simulations that learners can use to explore new career options and develop core skills before entering an in-person vocational training program. Transfr simulations augment human educators, broadening their range of classroom possibilities without expensive facilities build-outs or specialized equipment. I'm Jack Sislak, Editorial Director at Transfr, and your host for this episode. I'm joined by Transfr's own Bryant Harrison, Director of Product Management, and Shelly Hu, Executive Producer, for a talk about our improved Career Exploration 2.0 product. Let's jump in. Transfr's new Career Exploration experience gives users a chance to explore roles within a variety of industries without specialized equipment or site visits. They're engaging, accessible experiences for anyone who's interested in building a better future for themselves and the world. Today, we're going to dig into why we built this Career Exploration experience, what we hope to achieve with it, and really why the skill trades are the future of this country and the world. I'm joined by Bryant Harrison and Shelly Hu, and we're going to have them introduce themselves really quickly, and we're going to jump into some questions. Bryant, why don't we start with you?
Hi, I'm Bryant Harrison, and I'm the Director of Product Management for Transfr, and I've been with Transfr since the summer of 2021.
And my name is Shelly Hu. I'm the executive producer of VR studios at Transfr. I oversee the production of simulations. I've been working at Transfr since the spring of 2021.
Awesome. Okay, so let's start with a bit of background about Career Exploration overall. When did Transfr come out with our current CE offering, and then how do we build it, and how have people responded to it, and why?
Career Exploration product actually predates both myself and Shelly. So it started actually back in summer of 2020. And really it was an evolution of just sort of understanding the use cases of how people are using our virtual training facility product. So some of the feedback that we got was around, I'm an employer. This is great that you guys can train people in this with the skills that we need. However, we're actually having trouble just finding enough people to train, right? So how do we build out that pipeline? How do we get people interested in it? And we also heard from school systems, K through 12, CT programs, et cetera. We have people who are younger. They don't actually know what they want to do yet. And this would be a great way to expose people to all these different careers out there that are needed. But at the same time, we don't want to necessarily buy your entire catalog because we want sort of a variety, right? Yeah. So what we needed to figure out is a way to expose people to a range very quickly. And so what we did for that was we kind of did a hack in a way. We cherry picked 23 of our virtual training facility simulations, and that would represent a bunch of different career paths. And we made some very minor user experience changes and packaged them up into a separate application. And so we launched that as Career Exploration, sort of as an MVP, if you will, and it was just wildly successful. We got a lot of the same feedback that we got from virtual training facility. People love it. They find it extremely engaging, exciting. Exposes people to careers, and it just really gives you a sense of what a career is like. And you can run through people in a few different careers in just a matter of an hour or so. So that was really how it came about and what we did about it quickly.
Awesome. Yeah. Just from my experience, working with clients and telling their stories, the Career Exploration is huge. It's so fun to use MVP, minimum viable product, of course, but it is kind of also an all-star player when it comes to the value that it's delivering for people. And yeah, people love it, and all ages and all sorts of different applications. It's really great. Let's move on here and talk about sort of some of the main pieces of feedback we've received versus sort of the new version that we're coming out with, and what are users looking for in a Career Exploration offering?
So there are three big things that we are changing of this new version of career exploration based on customer feedback. Number one is the duration of the simulations are a lot shorter this time. So originally these sims were designed to, have a trainee master a skill. So we focused a lot on the mastering of using the tools for that career. And sometimes the simulations could go up to like 15, 20 minutes. And, after years of talking to customers and doing research, customers generally responded that those simulations are too long for you to just get a taste of what it's like to have this career. So we cut it a lot shorter, and instead of focusing on, using the hand tools, but rather we provide this experience that give user a taste of what it's like to be a construction worker for a day, to be a nurse for 5 minutes. So now the simulations are about 3 to 5 minutes long, and they generally respond to customer feedback that they want to be able to go through a bunch of simulations in one setting. So that was the first thing that we're doing very differently. And the second one is we're providing a lot more career clusters. So the originally CE had 4 out of our now 16 clusters.
Okay.
And our goal is to try to have careers in all 16 clusters eventually. There will be a priority to get clusters like health sciences, as that is one of the most requested by customer. And then last but not the least, we have added a lot more diversity in our simulations. Instead of using one coach that we refer to as Simon, we now place almost a unique coach in every single simulation. So when students get to try switches from different gender, background, racially, and culturally, and customers are responding super well to that. Additional thing I will add is accessibility as well. The accessibility features that we have added in our new simulations, for example, closed captioning, are also, coming back from our research and really being well loved by our customers.
Cool. And you started leading into some of these new features we're developing from an accessibility standpoint. Let's talk about that. What new features are debuting in this new version, and how is this changing and improving the experience for users?
Yeah, so there's a lot that we're adding. So Shelly just mentioned some of the things around accessibility. So closed captioning is the biggest. That's probably our most requested feature that we've received. And so that's very important. So, we have a lot of people who are either hard of hearing, English language learners, and then even just this younger Netflix generation, this sort of the divide on people watching content with captions versus not. So really there's something for everyone. And so this will be something we're really, really excited to debut here. The second thing is just around giving instructors more granular data and tracking. For the first time at the individual student, classroom, and customer level, we can actually identify what student did what did they like, what did they not like, so that the instructors can use that information to ultimately get their students onto a career pathway. And that's really our main goal. The third thing that we're really excited about is a dashboard for the first time for career exploration. So this will be a self-service way for the instructors to actually visualize that data easily, a bunch of nice charts and things like that, ways to drill in down to a student profile so that they can learn, adjust, and then ultimately get everyone where they need to go next. And then the last thing is a brand new application menu system that really helps support some of the use cases we've seen around career exploration. So in particular, whether you're in a classroom setting or maybe you're running a career fair and you just have like a lot of people that you need to get through quickly, we have redesigned the experience with that in mind. And so we will be debuting that as well.
The dashboard is really exciting. I know you and I have been talking about that in terms of giving the instructors feedback in terms of what the users are really interested in, but then also which jobs are not a really good fit for them as well.
Right, absolutely. So yeah, we a lot of some of the requests that we've received have been, well, actually, I want to filter people out. Like I want to know what they don't want to do, because the last thing I want to do is invest all this time, money, resources into something only for them to discover 4, 5, 6 weeks later that it's actually something that they don't want to do.
Yeah. What are we hoping that users and organizations will get out of using this career exploration experience?
Yeah, so I think most importantly, the explorers, right? The students. One, we'll have a wider range of careers, as Shelly mentioned, so there'll be more career clusters. So we're hoping to get representation in all 16 of them. as opposed to the 23 that we have right now, 23 occupations in just 4 career clusters. The second thing is with the shorter simulations, as you mentioned, you can do more in the same amount of time. So before, if you only have 15 minutes or 20 minutes in the headset, you might only get 1 or 2 careers in there. So now you'll be able to go through more and then actually be able at the end of it to say, well, out of the 5 that I did in my 20 minutes, I really like these 3. I was wishy-washy on this one, and then I absolutely hated this other one. There was, too much blood or something like that. I don't want to be a nurse, right? So we're hoping that they will have a better sense of what they would like to do going forward after this experience. And then lastly, just the design is a lot different. It's just a lot more fun and engaging. Our previous version of career exploration was more focusing on the mastery of skills. This is more storytelling. That's something that people have noticed. So, you're really tasked with solving a problem, and it's fun and meaningful. And so we hope that that's what the students get. For the instructors, we're hoping that they will be able to just take action by learning with that data, so they can say that, for these students, I am going to give them additional resources or spend some time with them to get them or connect them with employers or connect them with professionals in the field so they can take that next step. And then lastly, for those that do, a lot of employers and other organizations as well, schools, they kind of have this career fair setting where they're just trying, they have one focused thing in mind, and they just really want to be able to generate interest and show people something that they would have never been able to experience. And then also filter people out who, maybe it's not for them. Like maybe you don't want to go 200 feet in the air and fix electrical power lines, right? And so, that's what we're hoping that they'll get from this new experience.
No, that's awesome. And for those of you, yes, I love how this is great teaser content too. If you haven't looked into the new experience, listeners at home, we've got some really cool stuff with the line worker simulation and with I think it's the emergency room. There is some pretty engaging effects going on in these simulations. So if this is piquing your interest, listeners, if you're intrigued, what's going on? Definitely check it out, and you will not be disappointed. Pivoting a little bit sort of more into the kind of behind the scenes, the making of, I ask this question on almost every one of these where we're interviewing the people who are actually working on the simulations. What were some like fun, cool, interesting challenges that you encountered while building the sims and trying to make this real? I always love hearing about this.
I think there are a couple things that are, considered challenges, but we also had a lot of fun experimenting with these challenges. The number one thing is that technology. This Career Exploration 2 was the first batch of simulations that we're building on our own authoring tool, this no-code/low-code platform that we're calling Transfr SDK2. What this platform allows us to do is, instead of a developer coding a simulation, we're empowering people like designers to go in there and then drag and drop a few things, and then boom, you have a transfer-like simulation. So this is sort of our first stab at this technology, which of course, as we continue to build our platform and this as the MVP version of that platform, we had to work out a lot of challenges, but it was a very fun journey. And then alongside that, because the technology is different, we try to innovate on our design and sim production process as well. So like Bryant mentioned, a lot of these sims designs are a lot more storytelling, a lot more experiential. And it was interesting for us to find the unique balance between learning and experiential. We want it to be fun, but at the same time, we're teaching people about something, about a career in this case. And then at the same time, we continue to innovate our production processes, from the very beginning, putting our designers in the same room with our subject matter expert to understand what their job is, all the way through, production and development and release cycle. We're constantly innovating on, how we can do things more collaboratively and more efficiently.
Awesome. Yeah. And you teased a little bit about the SDK. I just want to see if you want to drill down into that a little bit more and sort of talk about the opportunities this is going to open up for, internally, externally, like what's the horizon? What are the big dreams here with SDK, with the software developer kit, right?
So for, internally, we are testing it out, and we're treating our own designers as the first batch of users of this technology. So we see our developers coming back and asking designers, how do you find this platform? How do you like to use it going forward? We're gathering a lot of feedback so we can understand what are the new features we can continue to build on this. But, the long-term vision is that we're going to build a global community using our own platform. So designers and subject matter experts from all over the world can use this platform and build a simulation about a job title that none of us has even heard about.
Yes, that's so cool.
It's very exciting.
Cool. Speaking of developing new sims, let's talk about clusters. We've mentioned those clusters like health sciences, manufacturing, et cetera. Those are the overarching category of the jobs. And then underneath that could be nurse, could be phlebotomist, could be surgical tech, could be for manufacturing, could be welder, could be electrician, electrical construction, et cetera. So let's talk about, let's thrill the folks at home with some new career simulations.
Well, Jack, you covered most of them already.
Sorry, I did not mean to steal your thunder. Let's hear it.
I would just add a few more things that I personally find super exciting. For example, we're building a trio simulations, three simulations of broadband technicians. And these are the people that, build anywhere between cell phone towers and underground drilling systems that allow networks to pass through. And then line worker, the one that you mentioned, where you have to climb up high on a distribution power line, was really exciting to play with. And like I mentioned before, health sciences, we're releasing 3 simulations around health sciences, surgical technologist, EMT, as well as nurse, because there's such a high demand out there. And then I think one thing worth noting is, we selected our career clusters this time with a lot of upfront product market fits research. So we know what we're going into responding to what the job market needs. A good example is, last year, the US government just passed a chip manufacturing bill so that we can now produce semiconductor chips domestically. In the past, I believe it was all manufactured overseas. And in response to this bill, we are, I believe, the first company in the world that's creating a VR vocational training simulation that teaches you to be a semiconductor manufacturing technician.
Cool.
That simulation is also being released this round, and very exciting.
Awesome. That's so cool. And moving on, just taking a little bit of a step back to kind of be a little philosophical about this whole career exploration. Why is it more important than ever to tell young people and job seekers of all ages about opportunities in this wide array of different trades?
So I was reading recently some figures, and there are about 10 million open jobs right now in the US, but only 6 million unemployed people. And so what that says is there's a lot out there, and there's more jobs than people. And so people should have a choice, right? But the challenge is that there's a large gap between people just even knowing what these opportunities are and what's out there, right?
Yeah.
And then also, even if you do know about those opportunities, if I'm going to be installing cell phone towers or something like that, I don't even know if I would like that, right?
Right.
And so I think what we can do is, by building these simulations, really give people a taste of what it's like for at least accomplishing one task, and just help them expose them to those things, and then be able to check things off or cross them off their list on whether they like it. And then ultimately the longer term vision is that we take more of an active role in making sure that they get on that path and actually fill some of these open jobs. So I just feel like that's really, really important right now.
And just to add to that, our simulations also provide more exposure to people who would otherwise only have limited opportunities to these careers. Like a 15-year-old kid wouldn't be able to assist a surgeon on a knee surgery just based on safety concerns. And now our simulations...
That is what it is. It's probably for the best, but yeah, so continue.
Our simulations give them an opportunity to use a bone saw and cut through someone's knee and be okay with it.
Get in there. Get your hands dirty, kids. Well, doubling back a little bit to we mentioned the dashboard, we mentioned helping people find, the right path for them. Let's talk a little bit about the role of data and analytics in helping create these classroom to career pathways for students and job seekers. How do we see this evolving, and, what role do data analytics play now, and how is it all brought together with, between our offering and how these organizations try to help people?
Yeah, so I think as a short term for instructors in schools, for people who are recruiting for jobs. Like right now, they're really in the dark, right? They don't really know who's interested, who's not. They have difficulty getting access to people. So a lot of them have like their own way of doing tracking, and that can be cumbersome, time consuming. So, right now, if we are able to provide them with that data through that dashboard, it will help them, save them time, it'll help them prioritize, like who should we be talking to about what, and just really efficiently spend that limited time that they have with students to get them onto that next step on the classroom to career pathway. I think longer term, there's some really cool things that we can do with data and analytics. I'm really excited about that, at least for Transfr. We can answer a bunch of questions there. We can use data to figure out, like, what else should we build? I mean, there are thousands and thousands of jobs out there.
Yeah.
We'll start with a small number of occupations with Career Exploration 2.0, but it's kind of endless on what we can do. So like, we can find those sort of hotspots and gaps and what we should build out more, right? Another thing that we could do with data, we can actually take a more active role in helping these students or explorers take that next step instead of making the instructor do all of the work, right? Yeah. So, there are some things that we could do with data. We could maybe start making recommendations, right? Maybe we should recommend some other occupations that you should try in VR. Yeah. Or maybe we could recommend training programs in your area based on what you've liked and what you didn't like. We could recommend jobs to you.
Right.
So I think for like just the first step is just having all the access to that information. And I think there's a lot more that we could do to actually all from the time that they're exposed in VR all the way to actually getting them into a job. So I think that's one big area that we see data playing going forward.
Awesome. Yeah, I know we talk about, I said it in the setup for this question, we talk about the classroom to career pathway, and humans are involved in it every step of the way, but there's a great opportunity to pull more and more robust information into Transfr into the VR setting and then help, yes, you explored a bunch of stuff. Here's some more information. We're just kind of setting them up for success in as much as we can, before they start to then take more and more steps in the real world. And maybe there's more transfer training in their future. Who knows? But then they're at least, we've given them all the information we can before they even start building that design of their pathway. And then, yes, help them along as they go. So this has been a really awesome conversation. Covered a lot of ground. I don't know if either of you have any final thoughts you want to offer before we all wave at the camera. You can't see us at home, but wave at the camera and say goodbye.
Bye-bye. Thank you, Jack.
Thanks, Jack. I appreciate it.
Okay. Hey, sometimes it's just that simple. All right, folks. Thanks, everybody, so much for being here. Bryant, Shelly, thank you. All of you folks at home. That we wouldn't be here without you. So thanks very much. From all of us here at Transfr, have a great day. Take care, everybody. Bye.